Close your eyes. Slowly take several deep breaths and relax. Imagine the darkness behind your eyelids is an infinite space. With my voice as your guide, this darkness becomes your canvas for creation, as well as your vessel to travel into personal landscapes. We begin with a black, silent, and empty screen as the residual images of the waking world begin to fade. Breathe and relax. Shapes and colors slowly begin to emerge from the darkness. You can start to make out leaves, branches, blades of grass. Towering pine trees rise above you. Old oaks grow and twist about in a mighty fashion, and the pleasant scent of the forest rides on a delicate breeze towards you, beckoning you to find a well-worn trail and enter into the cover of its dense canopy. The setting sun is behind you, radiating with comforting orange warmth. Its pattern, changing angles and intensity with every passing minute. Take a deep breath now and relax. Contemplate the mysteries that lie in wait, the secrets of the forest waiting to be found. In front of you, the trees and branches open a way to reveal a walking path randomly strewn with small pebbles, pine cones, and old leaves. The lush scent of the earth swirls about you as you start to walk slowly forward. The trees sway gently to and fro. The whisper of the wind calls to you, enchanting you, luring you to your journey. Your first steps onto the path are met with crackles and snapping twigs beneath your feet. Wildly colored songbirds, dazzling in the evening sunlight, whistle their flute-like melodies and take flight from the perches they rested upon to higher, safer limbs. They watch you with curiosity as you make your way. Turn around now and look one last time out into the fading light of day. The normal, everyday world you knew becomes just a memory as the foliage animately moves and comes together, binding and twisting, closing off any chance of retreat. You can feel your heart rate increase slightly with anxiety and excitement, but you should not fear or regret your choice to embark on this adventure. Take a deep breath once more and relax. The twilight has now settled in, and everything has taken on an ambient blue-gray quality. Fireflies ascend sporadically from nearby bushes and fallen logs, each blinking and signaling for a partner. Tiny luminescent mushrooms grow out of the spaces in between the exposed roots of the trees. Those glorious songbirds have gone silent, replaced in full by the din of crickets, frogs, and an occasional screech of an unseen owl. Walking forward on the path, the dense woods looms on either side, the tangled canopy creating a darkened cathedral-like space overhead. No sky is visible, and thus no moon, no stars. This forest is a world unto its own. It's impossible to shake the feeling of being watched as you continue on. Your mind flickers through pictures of imaginary nocturnal creatures, like a sputtering candle, and you pretend that they are out there, being curious about this strange visitor in their home. Up ahead, against the dimly glow of twilight, you see a large boulder in what appears to be somewhat of a clearing in the trees. As you take cautionary steps, you notice that this boulder is about as high as your head, the base firmly planted into the soil by its sheer weight, as if it had once been dropped from above. It would take about 7 or 8 people to get their arms around this moss-covered rock. And then upon your approach, you are startled by a previously unnoticed dark figure sitting motionless on top. As if sensing discovery, the figure rises up, covered in tattered robes, and drops out of sight on the other side. You can hear some shuffling on the ground, coming closer around the left side, and then it stops. Bracing yourself against the boulder, you creep cautiously to investigate. As you round the edge, there before you stands a heavily wrinkled old man, about 4 feet tall, dressed in those brown, tattered robes, the hood of which hangs only halfway upon his head. One hand grips a weathered walking staff, and the other hand is feeding his face with live grubs. He eats them with an open mouth, and a mix of juices and saliva runs down his chin, soaking the patchy, wiry white beard attached. The little old man glances up at you with a raised eyebrow, though definitely not surprised by your presence, and smiles a toothless smile. You feel a bit more at ease, knowing now it wasn't some kind of monster stalking you, though you get the sense that there is more than meets the eye with this fellow. He looks back down at his remaining grubs, and in a single gesture scoops them all into his mouth. Surely they must taste good, as evidenced by the fervor of his chewing. As he finishes, the old man makes a motion for you to follow him. With some reluctance, you agree to let him lead you around the boulder and then onward down the trail. Every so often, he turns to see if you are still following him, cocks his head, and flashes his mischievous grin. The brush is getting thicker on the sides as you progress, and is more than encroaching upon the path. You occasionally have to duck your head or twist your body to get through the foliage. The sly trickster you've been following, however, has none of your troubles, as if his slight frame was made just for this environment. The darkness weighs heavily now, and you may as well be wearing a blindfold. You can still make out the black outline of the figure in front of you, and sometimes a patch of glowing moss or mushrooms lightens the path just enough for you to be able to dodge a low-hanging limb. Tighter and tighter, the space around you closes in. The feeling of claustrophobia is unavoidable. Leaves and branches are constantly in your face, and you are gradually forced to crouch low to the ground in order to keep up with your guide. Suddenly, you hear a grunt, and then a raspy-sounding laugh as you notice the old man has stopped moving. Up ahead, 2 hand claps and a snap of the fingers. A brief silence. A low rumble begins. You can feel it moving through the ground below and through whatever lies ahead. As quickly as it started, the rumbling sound halts abruptly. There is some movement now ahead of you, and you decide to forge your way towards the old man's position. A cool breeze caresses your face, and the orange flickering glow of firelight can be seen. Finally, the brush gives way to the magnificent opening of a large cave. Mounted on the rock face of each side of the entrance are torches, their light giving you a sensation of warmth and comfort. Just within the entrance you notice where a giant stone disc has rolled aside into a neatly carved cavity, granting passage into the initial darkness. The wily old fellow is nowhere to be seen, but echoing footsteps from within the cave are a good indicator he has continued on. It is at this point you feel the imminent pull into the depths of sleep, and exhausted from your journey thus far, you make a cozy bed of moss and lie down. The dreams you will have will be vivid and full of life and color. You may be granted a glimpse into the wonders of the cave, or lifted above and beyond the trees into a dazzling night sky. The sounds of the forest are a blessed lullaby, and they sing you to the edge of consciousness.